Hold on. It's preparing the election.
Kyle's got an excused absence. His team didn't get shellacked last night, so what the hell's his excuse?
You want me to start again?
Yes.
You just hit got it on there.
Hi, everybody. I know we have a couple people need to leave early this evening, so we'll see how far we get. Hopefully, we don't lose quorum too early. Pardon me.
You lost Mike.
Sweet.
Just on the cut line or?
Yeah, we
Still got
back.
5. He's back. Yep.
Back. Okay. So I have Mike and Hannah online and Paul and Aaron are excused. I just heard the door. Maybe Kevin. So I need a motion for excused absence for Aaron and Paulo. Steve, Jamie, any opposed? Approved. All right, land recognition.
There's a copy around the shop. But Mike is supposed to be reading it.
I'll read it.
She will do it for you, Mike.
Okay, Mike, if I read it for you? Can you hear me?
Sorry.
Those kids outside. Terrorize the neighborhood.
I will read it next time, I promise.
Oh, okay, sorry. So Sault Ste. Marie Public Library is a gathering place where community comes together to share stories, to explore ideas and to gain knowledge of the past. It is through this unique position in our community that we support and promote truth and reconciliation with Indigenous people. We acknowledge with respect that we are in the Robinson Huron Treaty Territory, that the land on which we are gathered is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, and it's known as Bawating. Bawating is the home of the Kangangashi Garden River First Nation, Batchewana First Nation, and the historic Sault Ste. Marie Métis Council. The library, we as individuals have a deep desire to bring about change in our community and to move forward together as diverse and inclusive peoples. We are dedicated to honoring Indigenous history and culture and are committed to moving forward in the spirit of reconciliation and respect.
Any conflict with the business of today? Hearing none. Approval of agenda. And we should do changes. Yeah. Number 12, we'll move to closed.
Did you want to move numbers?
I'll move it after and make the changes. What do you refer to this?
I was thinking that decision we have to make about the security contract, did move up so that we still have quorum, give people time to talk about it.
So where do you want?
I don't know what number it is.
It is about 13. 13.
Yes, it's 13.
Okay, let's move it after consent. So we'll switch number 8 and 13. And there was a piece of correspondence that went out today, and Matthew's forwarded to all of you. We will move that to closed as well. Okay. Letter. Anybody else, any other changes? Once going twice. I need a motion to approve the agenda as amended. Lisa? Steve? Any opposed? Hearing none, we shall move on. We have no delegations. Chair's report, I'm just doing a verbal and I just got back from super conference last night. So the theme was Get Loud. The conference was fabulous. Matthew and myself and Elise were there, and the variety of speakers and presentations had something for all of us. We all not just in the library sector, but I bring back something to education and working with First Nations and the boot camp for anyone's on board. It just helps you refine your practice and deal with the business that happens at this table in a better way. The big one that hit, I think, was when they talked about, we're so caught up in the business, we don't take the time to check in with each other. Like, read a book lately, what have you read? We need like having more informal time. But so, try to balance that out. But the relationship on the board is something that I don't know how we make it better, but we work together in a sense and to make this business transpire. How can we make that better? How can we make it so you feel that you're contributing to the board? All of those kinds of questions, the things that we talked about and more. So it was just good. 3 days of getting your brain full of all kinds of different things. It's really exciting. Yes, absolutely. So get loud, get loud on behalf of Ontario, on behalf of Ontario Public Libraries, and the relationship you have with the city was really interesting discussion, because we forget that we're all, and I always say this, we're like a hands-off board, supposedly from City Hall. We have a mandate that's province-wide. It's not dictated by City Hall for public appointees. It's an interesting dynamic. Think about that sometimes. How does that fit? We don't just try to satisfy City Hall. We try to satisfy the citizens of this community for the library. So, big picture. Anyway, some point I'll do a written report, not today. So, if there are no further no questions or.
Just the way that we let Ross right for them.
Oh, yes, very important. So there is an initiative across the province, thanks to get the funding, $20 million from Ontario Digital Public Libraries. And when I went to Toronto about a month ago, we met with various MPs at Queen's Park, and had that discussion. That's the #1 priority right now. You provided broadband across this province. Now you need to make it something besides recreation, to invest heavily in spending $20 million in databases that meet the needs of all Ontarians. And so we got to meet with Ross to support that message. So he'll go to the minister responsible and support him when he brings it forward. So we're another step down the road towards $20 million. I think it's pretty positive from the things I'm hearing from the MPs and MPBs, and at the conference, there's support of it. Be a good piece for libraries. We give Suzanne Reid a more level playing field as far as information and technology that Toronto may currently have, but it benefits everyone in the province. It's a very nice blend for the whole province. Yeah. Thanks for mentioning that. So we have Ross. We had that talk. All right. So I need a motion to accept my report. Steve, Lisa. Anybody want to argue with me? That's not true. All right, so we'll move on. Consent agenda. Any items in the consent you want to talk about, have removed? Hate to spoil this for you, but I want to talk about 6.62, the CEO evaluation tool. So I don't think I need to have it just briefly address it.
If you're addressing it, then please.
Okay, I want to remove it. And I want to remove 6.7. There was a problem with minutes. So, how do you want that removed?
Yeah, that would be removed and then it would be amended.
Okay, so the minutes need to be removed. And there is an issue with the finance report, I think. And the rest of it, so if I can ask the question, then maybe Catherine can answer it, maybe we can fix this right now. Yeah. So remember we talked in the finance meeting about the check register?
Yes,
One of those numbers was supposed to have been increased.
yes. I'm just gonna double check the package and make sure it's right.
November 6th,
I made that.
14, 21,
Yep.
27.
That looks like it's correct on the expenditure report, but let me just double check the finance committee. 181,306,
What's the right numbers now?
181,537.
Like the total of 66,000, I thought that was incorrect.
It's corrected now. It was the $181,537 on the November expenditure report. What was incorrect was just the wages there, but both the finance committee meeting minutes and the expenditure report in the board package are correct.
These are right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
For sure.
That was why the minutes were delayed, because I was waiting for Catherine to
Yeah.
come in the revisions.
Okay.
I missed 1/6.
Yeah, no, so did I, and I didn't pick it up during the meeting, it went by on the screen, and I thought, wait a minute, I didn't see that.
For sure.
Did occur to me. So, okay, so you've got the ones removed. So I need a motion to, we can do the consent, approve the consent agenda.
Yeah,
And
amended to remove 6.62, 6.7, and the minutes.
Okay.
For the regular board.
Yep.
And then I'll make separate motions for all of them.
Okay, so a motion to approve all the remaining items. Need a mover? Thanks, Mike. Second. Hannah?
Yes, sorry.
Can you second that?
I can second it. Yes.
Thank you. Any opposed? Motion. Going to the minutes, where is it? Board development plan, Matt gave an update a couple hours ago. I was gonna ask when that would be coming, when we be going.
Your council?
Yeah.
Oh, the rest of the board, earlier today, I did ask the clerk's office if we would have an opportunity to present our strategic plan to city council, and so they're bringing it up at their next review, agenda review. So I've sent it to the clerk's office, the link to our website and the document that's downloadable.
Perfect. Page 6 of the minutes. We have 13, 14, and 13. I'm assuming 14 is a misprint.
Probably.
Yep.
So that should come up. That's all I have for the minutes. So we can go to, we'll do 3 more, 1 motion for all 3. We're done. We're doing it separate.
I probably should have a separate one for the minutes.
Okay. Motion to approve the minutes as amended. Lisa? Jamie?
I wasn't there.
Oh, that's right. You were. Oh, thanks, Steve. Any opposed? Minutes are passed. Going to 6.62, the CEO evaluation bill. Committee met, and I feel this is, I want to talk about this because it impacts all of us. We all have, we will all be using this tool. So the committee agreed on a tool that would be put in place for this year. And it reflects the strategic plan as well as leadership competencies. So it still has a 5-point scale, but the plan is that Matthew will provide information on in September on his role in this and what he's done and give us some kind of feedback. And then each of us will complete the evaluation and submit it to me, and I will tabulate all the answers and then meet with the committee again and do a final review. Tool is new, and it's a tool that's addresses the CEO, and that's where. So I want to say about, I think it was important that the board is aware of what their expectations are. So, I need a motion to approve the CEO evaluation committee report and accept the evaluation tool for 2020. Steve,
The tool's the one with the check boxes and the numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 1.
Oh, yeah. We'll make a
Yeah.
modification to that.
Thank you.
wait a minute.
As amended.
Yes.
If it'd been up to me, I would get rid of them completely, but it's hard. Anyone want to propose that? Would you away with the numbers?
If you have to refer to an item, then you don't know what number, like which one it is.
No, I mean the grading scale.
Oh,
You interested in that? It didn't come from the committee, it just, my feeling, I guess. Not a big fan of the grading scale, it goes back to when we were all in school. And,
Ironic statement coming from you, but.
yeah, no kidding, but we're well beyond that stage. And the comments are what Matthew wants. He wants, what he needs the feedback, he needs the direction from the board. He doesn't necessarily need to be graded unless it's failing. I don't think it's gonna happen anytime soon. Better not. Kids are down the hall, he's got to feed them. Anyway, all right. Here, if there's nothing else, then I'll just ask for the motion to accept the report and approve the tool as amended. Thanks, Steve, for pointing that out.
Just for clarification, did we remove both the report and the tool from consent?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any opposed? Hearing none. I did that, didn't I?
Yeah, I'll move it, yeah.
Lisa,
yeah, sure.
thank you. Any
Just put us
opposed?
down for
I said
everything.
opposed, I got part of it. Right? Sorry, I'm trying to go fast again. And sometimes I push too much. And you don't get hurt, and I apologize for that. The last item I wanted taken out of the consent agenda is the strategic plan update. This board invested far too much time and money to just gloss over this. I like the idea of the update, but I want to see a verbal report to the board. I want shared, what are your pitfalls? Like if it's just passed, approve it, we wasted a lot of time. I'd like to know that it's a live tool. I wouldn't mind seeing copies of this on the table. For me,
Okay.
yeah, strategic plan.
Um,
I think that's important. So,
I'll remove it from consent from now on if that's the will of the board. Maybe it'll just be a standing item,
Yeah.
kind of like board development.
no, and then, like I put you on the spot now, if you feel comfortable.
No, I can address it. We've only just implemented the plan and it goes a little bit into December of last year. But I wanted to point out some of the action items that we've already completed. There's about 270 to 275 different action items. Some of these are going to be ongoing ones that we expect that we're going to hit this target several times because it's an outreach type program, and every time we do the outreach type program, we're just gonna say it's ongoing and that we've accomplished part of that goal. Some of them are gonna be completed. The first one, ensure the library is a safe, accessible, and welcoming community hub for all to enjoy. And the action item was seek funding to add security staff. And so we did that back in November and December. And so that is an action item that is not completed. I'd like to each board meeting have a list of items that were recently either like updated or completed, as well as like a backlog of all the ones that we've done for the rest previously in the year. They give you a kind of running total of how we're doing on the strategic plan. So right now, it's a little sparse, but as the year goes on, it's gonna grow and grow.
Is that on the drive? Is that, like where can we?
It is on the drive.
So, yeah, okay.
On the board website.
No, I mean, this log, like,
The log is, yeah.
okay.
And I'm actually color coding it on the log as well. So I haven't made a legend yet, to go with it, but like greens are good.
Yeah,
Reds are bad,
Yeah.
obviously, and then there's gonna be like yellows and oranges, which are like kind of ongoing projects, right? That aren't completed but have at least been started or are an ongoing item. So I think considering that this is our first meeting in January of this year and we've got about 6 items, maybe 7 items already completed on our list, some of them ongoing, but I think that's a really good start to show that we've begun the strategic plan.
Can we talk? Are you finished? Okay, I don't want to interrupt you. So actually, when I saw this, I expected to see something that isn't there. And that's a new piece of equipment on the microfiche table, the reader. So that's an accessibility target that you have met, have you not?
I'm not sure what you're
It's a
referring.
new, there's a machine next to the microfilm reader
Oh.
and it's a visual
Yeah, that,
magnifier thing.
that was added in the summer of last year, that's why I haven't added.
I didn't, really, because I just saw it this week and
It was a donation, I don't know if it's just recently come
maybe it moved
upstairs.
to that table, maybe it was somewhere else.
The Victor reader?
It's not a Victor reader, it's
screen reader?
It's a magnifier.
a magnifier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was up there, but I think they moved it recently.
Oh, they moved it recently because I didn't know it was there. When you do your color coding, what I would like to see. Well, how many pages is this document on Google Drive?
1 page, but it's.
Oh, it's, if you
It's-
printed it, would it be
If I
like,
printed it, it would,
it would be too big to print?
yeah,
Okay.
25 pages
Or
probably.
something.
I would like to highlight what action items are the board's responsibility.
Right,
And then could those components be carried forward to the agenda of a committee? So that if there are things that affect the policy committee, we would see it on that agenda and
Right.
know that this is the,
so with that, I would probably recommend that you ask me to just gather all the ones for each committee that are like all the policy ones, and I can just list at our next meeting, all the policies that need to be updated.
okay, well. I mean, that, we're doing it anyway, but I kind of all along have been waiting to be. Have clarity on what it is that that's the board's responsibility in the strategic plan, and I don't see that when I'm reading this, so how does that? Come forward.
Another thing is I could truncate the document, so make a copy of it and remove everything that's not board responsibility, so you can just see the board
Well,
responsibility.
or you could color code it, it could be a color, you were
Yeah.
thinking red, green and yellow?
Yeah,
Mm,
in terms of status.
I know, for
Access-
status, yeah,
That's awesome. No, I like the way you're thinking, and that's why, like, I'm trying to, like I said, we spend too much time and money.
Mhm.
We have a responsibility.
Should have
I want this to be a
yeah.
living
I do
document
too,
and guiding this board. So the board is aware of what you're doing, the board is aware of its own responsibility, so it needs to be front and center.
So there may be something else I could do where I make it a separate sheet. As part of the document, and one sheet will be staff responsibilities and one sheet will be board
oh,
responsibilities.
okay, yeah, that would help,
And that way you're just looking at the board responsibilities, and then when we're looking at staff responsibilities. We just have theirs, and so they're not intermingled as they are right now, because right now they're
Oh,
mixed
yeah.
together.
no, I know, and then I would expect the strategic plan topic to be on every committee agenda going forward.
Yeah, we can do that. And I have been including it with the policy committee, but I'll discuss with Patron about how to incorporate it better into the. finance.
Pension finance.
Mhm.
Mhm. Okay,
Thank you very much. And
That's fine. And if there's anything that you feel like we may have missed, by all means inform me, because I'm trying to capture everything I can. And I've got to talk with my staff about better reporting what things they're doing that fall into this. Because some of my frontline staff are doing programs that may fall under some of the strategic plan items. And I may not necessarily be aware of everything that they're doing, so I have to have the managers kind of help me fill these out as well. But this is our first start, and I'm hoping that you like the format of this report where I give you the notes of what the items are. But if there's anything else you'd like to see in terms of how I report on the strategic action items, then by all means, I'm open for input on how I might be able to better improve the tool.
But we're a governance board, and so it force us to go down that road and what our role is. You know, instead of getting into operations in your business. Take better look at the higher level, what is it you should do? And I think this will help us. So whatever you can do to guide us in that direction, great.
So I'll look at some options with the staff and try to improve.
Okay, good. Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, I need a motion to approve the. What's it called again?
Strategic plan update.
Strategic plan update. Lisa, thank you. And Steve, don't put your head down. Steve? Mike had his hand up, but. He missed his chance. Any opposed? Motion's passed. We will now go to, we can change the agenda, the security contract, which is item 13 in the package. It's mislabeled.
It's 13, it says
It says the subject is follow-up visit from the Ministry of Labor.
right, 13.
Might want to click that.
I think that was corrected in the one that was sent out this afternoon, the revised one.
Oh, I'm on Google Drive, so. I
Good. It's corrected now.
I
right?
made some corrections.
Yes, okay. Matt, we want to open this up?
Well. We need more money. So it's an old story. But basically, what it comes down to is we went to city council with an estimate on what we thought security would cost. Based on our security hours, and we're currently paying with a bit of an inflationary rate added to it. But that inflationary rate didn't capture the actual cost of what the bids came back at. Paige, maybe you can speak to how much higher the bids were?
We originally had a quote, I think from July of last year maybe, and it was around $22 an hour. Our lowest bid came in $29 an hour. And even that original quote we had, I used city's inflation, I did everything I could to pump it up, and we're still far below it. So,
with the $7 an hour off.
yeah, it's a big chunk.
It did make a difference in terms of what we wanted to do in terms of operational hours. The finance committee did discuss this. We originally brought them two options, but they wanted us to bring back the third or fourth option as well. Looking how we might use the hours and the money that's been given to us by city council in the most effective way. And so we do unfortunately have to make some sort of adjustment. It's either an adjustment in terms of the amount of money that we're going to be paying for the contract, or it's going to be an adjustment in the amount of hours that the contract will be. So option one is to maintain the security schedule and reallocate a little over 3,600 from elsewhere in the budget. Option two is to reduce security hours to the schedule below, but that would create a 1 hour gap between the administration when the administration office closes and when security are on site, resulting in a small surplus, but it's an option that staff have vocalized that they're not in favor of. And then option three, the reduce security hours to the following security schedule, which creates a 1 hour gap between the administration office closes and when the library closes on Fridays. We need to get a little bit of additional money, about $587. To reallocate to cover the deficit. And then, we may be able to schedule management to stay that extra hour to cover that, so that, management is on site, and when they're not, it's security on site. That's kind of what that option is. So for your consideration, city council approved an addition of $36,000. If we go with option one, we would have a deficit of $33,649.60. If we went with option two, we'd have a small surplus of $1,633.78. If we went with option three, we'd have a deficit of $587.64. I do also want to bring to your attention that we actually got a bit of good news today from the city council packages. Our insurance rates came in much lower than we anticipated, and so there's a bit of saving there.
I've actually got the math here if you want me to.
Sure.
We had it budgeted for 30,000, but we had it budgeted at 25% increase over last year. For the city, it came in at 7.11. So we've got $5,081 free in the insurance budget that we could use to cover that deficit, but it's all.
So should you want to choose option one or three, which does have a deficit, we may have available funds based on that surplus from insurance.
Both of them have it. Now we have available funds for either of those choices.
Right.
Wow, okay.
If you choose to go with the deficit for the security office.
Right.
To
Cool.
reallocate our operational to that.
Oh, there you go.
So.
Yes.
So there's two issues on the table. One is to approve the contract or the board contract and security. To whatever company it was.
It was Northwest Security Services Incorporated. They were the lowest bidder out of three bidders. So we did send it out to more companies, but other companies declined to put in the bid.
Which is the RFP have to be amended. Because we're changing.
That's why it's a request for proposal, not a tender. So.
So we're good there.
It's noted on there that the subject is liable to change.
Okay, perfect. And the second is to offer advice and direction. Well, about to. How we'd like to see it proceed. Open floor.
Well, I would vote for option one if we have the money to cover that deficit.
Mhm.
That's what the intention of city council is that we're covered for those hours.
Yeah, Mike, you wanna jump in?
Um. I mean, if we can cover it, yeah, I think option one.
Anna, any thoughts?
I agree. I think I'm leaning more towards option one at this point.
Can I ask you a clarifying question first?
Sure, absolutely.
When city council approved, and when city council approved the $36,000 in funding, they made the provision that this was a one-time.
Yes.
One-time funding.
And we've spent some of it already on the January without the conflict.
Yeah, for sure. So we would have to apply as a supplementary request again in the process for 2025 if we were to ask for it again.
That's right.
And we would have to update our numbers of what we need for funding because of what the contracts come back.
I don't want to start thinking 12 months out already, but I'm in my head, I'm already thinking for the next, sorry, it's the nature of my job is I'm already thinking about the next budget cycle is
Mhm.
any decision we make today will also have an impact on us going forward, including our asks down the road for 2025 2025 and how council may or may not like to fund it. So that's why I'm hesitant to commit to anything verbally at the moment. But because whatever we decide and reallocating funds, yes, we have the funds because of an unexpectedly low price for insurance. Does council squeeze us on insurance next year, or do they squeeze us on what our funding might be if they approve a supplementary request for calendar 2025? So we have to find, it's like will funds, I'm just going to throw a round number out there, but we'll pay 90%. Okay, it's closer to 92%, 91%, but we pay, say, 90% of your security funding for next year, and you have to turn from somewhere else. That would be my one positive. Choosing either option 1 or 3.
Lisa,
I like option 1. I'm hearing what Steve is saying. I don't know.
I can give you my 2 cents, and I don't think it's gonna be well received. And that's not because I don't care about the security and safety of the employees, the staff, and the patrons of this library. I don't support any of the options. Part of it Steve alluded to. It's a one-time allocation of $36,000. We have no guarantee that it's coming next year. I do not want to take beyond that from our budget. I think that's a mistake. We were given 36,000. We spend the 36,000. We leave it to the CEO to decide how that is spent. If that's to rearrange staffing, that's within his purview. If that's to leave a gap, that's his purview as well. It's not our decision. Our decision has been made. We believe in the security of the building. I do not support this at all. Option 4, 36,000 is what we spend. And we make that work the best we can. Quite possible next year is going to be more. Quite possible, based on the comments from the council, it could be 0. And then we're on the hook. And then we're taking it over staff. And we have to reduce staff to keep this building. And this is a safe building, despite all the rhetoric. It's safe here. I firmly believe that. I feel safe here. I know there are always incidents, and there are incidents every place in the city. But sidebar that I feel safe. But I do not believe we should spend beyond $36,000. That's just my opinion.
May I just
Yeah, absolutely.
provide a clarifying
Sure.
point? So the 36,000 is in addition to what we already have budgeted for security. So I just want to clarify that it's greater than $36,000. What's allocated for security?
Did you have security in our finish, didn't you?
No.
But we had security already scheduled for here on Sundays prior, and that was already part of the operational budget plus call outs. So there was some security funding outside of the 36,000.
So what is currently allocated in the current budget?
We've got $1,200 for after hours call outs, and then $5,800 of our operational budget contributed to this, and we asked the city for the remainder.
We can easily see. Okay. I've said no.
So could I ask if we don't make a decision between option 1, 2, and 3, Matthew could still choose option 1 on his own, right?
Yes, you can.
No, I don't.
No, we can't.
And because of the picture policy.
Oh, yeah.
The amount of
Okay.
money
Oh.
is not my spending. The
Okay,
spending limit is 12,500.
that's helpful.
But you're not spending that much. You're not spending.
Well, I'm spending potentially $35,000.
$3,649.
No, I'm spending $35,955 to $41,258.
But that money's allocated. specifically, it's not your choice.
No, it's the awarding of the contract, so whatever the contract we award. I need approval for that spending amount. So it's between 35 or 36,000 and 41,000. So it's above my spending limit, which is 12,500. Otherwise, I could pick one. But because it's so high, my procurement policy only allows me to go to that amount. It required for approval to award the contract.
Okay, so the board approved has to vote on. Select. And then they have to vote on how much they're willing to spend.
Right.
Gotcha. Thanks. All right.
I would love to make the decision, but it's out of my hands.
Yeah, no, it makes clear sense to me. What the board is providing, does provide the direct. Yeah. If there's a money, it would be time to go. Okay. I got it. Thanks. Hold on. All right, so. Any further comments, or we'll start entertaining motions? Anyone want to bring a motion? Mover. Steve. Second. Jamie.
I can second it.
Thanks, Anna. Now I will let you. I'm sorry. Second motion.
I still,
The
so
second
I
one.
would make a motion that we allow Matthew to pursue option one. Available funds to make.
Second.
I would second that.
Motion's on the table, moved by Jamie. On the direction from Matthew. Go ahead. You speak to the motion.
I was just in agreement with Jamie, but Mike and
We
I were
can't hear
also. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yep, you're good.
Yeah. Great.
I was just in agreement with Jamie's recommendation, but Mike and I were also in the chat saying it was just really choppy and difficult to hear, so we did miss a few things there. And I do also have to excuse myself, but I don't. Sorry. Yeah, we can't hear you guys. I think there's a delay. I do have to excuse myself quite shortly. I don't want you to be without quorum, so I can stay
Okay.
on and for the business items.
Okay, well, I'll try to get at least this motion done.
Okay.
Is there anyone else wants to speak to the motion for option one?
Well, I'd speak to it quickly if you want.
You know.
I'm really, I've said this at the finance committee meeting, I'm really concerned that Matthew's job is to identify risk and our job is to manage it. And I said that in September, earlier in the year when we were dealing with the same issue. So, and I also feel that the city council, allocated the money for the purpose of covering the hours. And I would be really nervous about not covering the hours that management is not here. So I'm really, in support of option one.
Comments. Call the question. All those in favor of the motion, I'm gonna have to call. Mike, you in favor?
I'm sorry, it's been really choppy. Is this a motion for option number one?
Yeah, so you're in favor of the motion?
No.
Hannah,
Yes, I am.
thank you. Lisa,
Yes.
Steve,
Nay.
2 and 2. Jamie,
Yes.
3 and 2. And motion passes. Right,
Did you vote, Wayne?
I won't vote.
You don't vote? Oh,
If I vote, I'm gonna tie it
I know.
and defeat it,
Oh, I see. Oh,
and it's not right.
Pretty sure according to the bylaws, we get a vote.
Well, then I'm voting against it, the motion is defeated,
oh,
sorry. So, anybody else have a motion they'd like to put on the table? And I'm gonna lose Anna, and we're in dangerous, position, we'll lose quorum, so, quickly. Steve,
Make a motion to approve the awarding of contract, under the criteria of option.
that's already passed.
We've done that
No,
already.
can't do option 3?
no,
Yeah,
we
but just
what-
pick whatever direction you like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's say option 3.
Sorry.
Yeah, option 3, and can I throw the kicker in that management adjust schedules to cover that 1 hour gap on the Fridays? Or is that way too out of scope?
That's his purview, again, he's the manager, he's the CEO.
Yeah.
I think he's heard the board, but your motion is to approve option 3. Right. All right, let's try this again. Hannah, option 3.
Do we need a second here?
Oh, yes, that would be helpful.
Yeah.
Sorry, do I have a seconder for the motion?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mike. All right, so I have 2 votes, so I don't have to ask you again. Anyone else wants to speak to the motion? Sorry, I'm trying to go quicker than I should.
I'd like to.
You can.
Well, while I realize our operating budget's about $3.6 million, correct? And $3,600 is functionally a rounding error at 0.1% of that. It does give, yeah, I have pause at that amount at $41,000 because of the implication of what we're tied to going forward. At a little bit less, I agree with I agree with everyone's concern and the importance of security. But I just want to be a good financial steward of the organization's money going forward. So I'll take the middle ground approach, and that's where my sentiments lie with that.
Thank you, Steve. Anyone else want to speak for the motion? Anyone wish to speak against the motion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. I have 2 votes for, Steve and Mike, Lisa,
No.
you, Jamie,
No.
you against. Am I missing? I'll support the motion.
Okay, is Hannah still on?
No, Hannah, I'm sorry.
Is Hannah still there?
Sorry,
And do you support the motion?
First number 3.
I
Option
do. Oh,
Thank
sorry.
you.
Is it
Option
option 1 or 3?
3, sorry.
Sorry.
That's okay. Can't count on technology sometimes. The option, the current motion is for option 3.
Can I take a minute?
Yes, you can.
Thank you.
I was only trying to rush it because, I know you have to leave, and Mike.
Because of me, yes, I know, but I'm gonna stay
Yeah,
on.
so I don't like doing this, without fair debate.
Yeah,
because it is
absolutely.
important.
I'm just gonna take a minute to think on it for 1 second, but I have some flexibility to stay on, so you're not without quorum for the business items, like I said.
I understand.
Okay.
We could do that music.
Sorry, can you repeat what option 3 is so I'm clear? 'Cause I
Option
think I
3.
missed part of it.
Option 3 is an additional spending of $587. And then Matthew will figure out how to cover the shortage of coverage. Is that about cover?
On
Is that fair?
Yeah, there'll be on Fridays right now, because the administration office closes at 5 and the library closes at 6. There'll be a 1 hour gap. The reason why there's so much savings for that 1 hour is because the shifts are actually 3 hours for security. Because they don't do 1 hour shifts.
Thank you.
Okay.
Does that answer your
yes.
question? Anna?
It does, yeah, I'm in favor of that.
Thank you. I didn't miss anything. Thanks. Thank you. The motion passes. For option 3, and we need further guidance. That's why we're here. I know it's a difficult decision. Well, it's complex. Okay, anything else on that item? We can go back to our rate, back to.
I think we are at the information items.
Number 9.
Shall we debate? All right, information items. Matthew? Oh, that's, no, I'm sorry, that is you. No, wait a minute. Yes, it's
Yeah.
you. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm all screwed up now.
I mean, most of it is pretty self-explanatory in my reports, but just wanted to point out that we did receive grant funding for. Like a digital intern, and so he's doing programming right now. We're kind of free for them, but we're having a little bit of difficulty. In terms of finding a appropriate candidate for that position. And then the other one is a friend of the library has been doing such a great job. And they reached out and we're working with the Health Sciences Library to provide books to people at the hospital. Part of the patients' learning program.
Awesome. Any questions on those 2 items? You need a motion.
I don't have information. So, yeah,
All right, number 9. Board development, this is discussed in each of the committees. About structure, and what I propose is that we no longer have facilities and because most of it's financial, that ends up at financial committee anyway, that we amalgamate into finance. Hopefully it doesn't become too much of a burden, but it does free up some time. And I would move a couple of people. Mike and Lisa would end up on finance, and Steve and Kevin would end up on policy. I think everyone's versed on that. So is there a motion to support that direction? Or further information? Otherwise, we can go to motion.
I have a draft motion here.
Oh, you're the best.
Rebecca wrote it.
I need so Sault Ste. Marie Public Library Board approves the dissolution of the Facilities Committee and approves having the Finance Committee take over reviewing the facility projects because of the financial overlap between 2 committees. A little wordy. Is there a mover for the motion? Lisa, thank you. Mike, second.
Sure.
Any debate?
I have a question.
Sure.
So moving forward now, are we going to get a new updated schedule on meetings and whatnot?
Good.
Okay, because I think there's a facilities committee in a couple of weeks.
It'll be canceled at this point.
Okay.
And I've held off giving you an updated agenda, because I wasn't sure what was gonna happen with
Right.
the committee. And, there'll be some paperwork that has to be done, in terms of probably updating the terms of reference of the finance committee, as well as I would be probably bringing an update of the, board's, bylaws. Because the committee, I believe, is referenced in there.
Okay,
So that would come to the AGM for.
all right.
Yeah, that's what agent. And the idea, just briefly, is. I know there's so many commitments around the board table that if we run a body or 2 short, we won't be selling a lot of business with 1 or 2 voices, 3 voices. It doesn't fit well. It doesn't give us due diligence. So that was my thinking behind that. So appreciate that you're interested. Okay. Motion, you have a mover?
Yeah, I had, was it Lisa and then Mike?
And did I call the vote?
You didn't call the vote.
Okay, any opposed? Hannah's gone, but. All right. Motion passes. Number 10 is the new policy committee. We decided any new policies should get a brief overview at a board meeting. And this is a new policy, so I'm happy.
So I'll bring all the new policies forward to the board to look at in open, so that we can have a discussion of it. This is part of actually our strategic plan. It's one of our action items was to create a planning policy. And it's also one of the requirements for accreditation. So that's why we created this new policy. And planning mostly, I believe for the accreditation is focused on the strategic planning and making sure that you have a strategic planning process. We've just gone through ours. But there's a number of other plans as well that the board develops and reviews on a regular basis. And so we wanted to make reference to those as well. So that would be our accessibility plan, which is required by the AODA. And then we also have a business continuity plan in case there's some sort of disruption to our business. COVID being a strong candidate for one of the ones that happened in the past. So any other plans that the board would develop in the future, we foresee those being included in here as well. So these are the only ones that I can think of that we kind of currently have on the books, but if there's any that's missing, or if there's any that we'd like to develop in the future, we can always add it. And new policies are always reviewed after 1 year before they go into the 3-year cycle. And so we will be able to make any modifications to this policy, and it will be reviewed in a year's time at the next January meeting. Are there any questions relating to the contents of the policy?
Hearing none, I need a motion to approve this new policy. Mike? Don't, let me know when you have to prepare it, because there's one thing I need to get covered.
I got
Who's
one. I was gonna say 5:30 at the latest, but so if you want to do that, we'll do it next.
Yeah, I'll go to close since I finish this motion. Second, Steve?
Yeah.
Any opposed? Okay. There is some business. Oh yeah, that's important. We can do number 11 later or defer. We need to go to close to get something done. Resolve that the members of Sault Ste. Marie Public Library Board moving to close the Sault Ste. Public Libraries Act, section 16.4. Closed meetings, the subject matter being considered as personnel matters about identifying individual labor relations with labor negotiation. Further be resolved that should said closed session be adjourned, the board may reconvene closed. Meaning discuss the same matter, so the further authorization to be further resolved. Following means would be permitted and McDonald, Arbor Dome. Mover. Steve. Jamie. Second.
Sure.
Thank you.